has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Make sure you get the SportsGrid app on iOS or on Android in the Play Store. It's free. You're going to love it. You can watch the network on the TV side on the app and listen to the network on the radio side on the app. You get it all, in-game odds. You can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High. And like I said, it's free. It's the SportsGrid app. Everybody's doing it. They just won't admit it. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Hey, did you know we're streaming on X every day, all day? All you have to do is go to SportsGrid-Live, and you can see the network streaming on X. You can watch us on X. Hey, you can get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on the Bench podcast on iTunes, on the Apple Podcast. Go over there. You're going to find both of them. 3 hours full of C2C. Plus, Ferrall on the Bench is a daily look at all the games that happen and all the games that are on the table for that day moving forward. All right, tonight on SportsGrid at 6 after this show, Eastern, you got Game Time Decisions with the mayor of Miami, Joe Ranieri, tonight styling. At 8 to 10, you got Scotty Wetzel opposite picks with Las Vegas golfer, your boy Brady Cannon, styling tonight on In-Game Live, 8 to 10, and then 10 to midnight East, Sports Rage with Gabe Morency. And then on SportsGrid Radio, you've got Carver and Lisi from 8 to 10. SportsGrid TV, SportsGrid Radio. We took over the world a long time ago, and it was easy doing it. As we enter hour 2 of C2C on a pain-free Friday, we're still talking about the NBA. And once again, Mitchell Robinson, is he good to go for the Knicks, Mike?
It sounds like he is going to be good to go. He was upgraded to questionable this evening, so he should return tonight. The Knicks are in Memphis. We'll give you the numbers in a moment. Looks like the Nets are going to get Cam Thomas back as well tonight against Portland. He's missed over a month with a hamstring injury, so good to see him getting back in the mix for the Nets. They could use him. Of course, the Pistons and the Nuggets is where we're going to start tonight, and the Pistons have won 8 in a row. Not only have they won 8 in a row, they've covered in 7 of those 8 games, Scotty. So 8-0, 8-game winning streak. 7 of those 8, they've covered the number. And everybody, I'm telling you now, everybody's on the Pistons tonight. But the script gets flipped a little bit here. You know, we've seen them getting points against all these good teams, winning outright like they did against the Celtics. But now they have a real good team coming in their building tonight. There you go with the win streak and the 7-1 against the spread. They got a real good team coming in, and I saw them earlier as 1.5-point favorites. Now I've got Denver back to -1.5. So this is flipped over, but a real good Nugget team coming in, 239.5 the total.
I mean, they ran out of gas last night in Milwaukee. What makes me think they're not going to run out of gas tonight again? Back-to-back, had to fly to Detroit and take on a team that's this hot. I just don't want to get in front of the Pistons. We've been cashing Piston tickets game after game after game now, so I'm going to go with Detroit again. I'll take the Pistons in the 1.5.
You know, and the Pistons get set up again, right? This is the same thing that they got the other night. Boston was coming in back-to-back nights on the road, and they ended up whacking them. Here comes Denver, back-to-back nights on the road into Detroit. Nice break of the schedule for the Pistons here. They're getting the Nuggets in probably a pretty good spot this evening. Elsewhere, OKC is into Atlanta tonight against the Hawks. Thunder -11.5 on the road. 245.5. Look out.
Yeah, I think it'll be a wild game, but I don't think the Hawks can hang with this team. I think the Hawks hang with bad teams. They hang with, Chicago. They hang with the Knicks. The Knicks don't beat good teams. The Knicks beat bad teams. The Knicks can barely beat the Hawks. I still got to believe tonight, even in Atlanta at State Farm, in Hot Town, that the Thunder are going to win that game and cover. I'm still chalk with the Thunder tonight against this team in Atlanta.
Next, good one. The two best teams in the East getting together. By the way, Ricky made that birdie on 13. He's 11 under now, Ricky Fowler. Nice putt from him. He's going to be probably at minimum 2 back here, depending on what Knapp's got. All kinds of
I'm rooting for him.
Now, I would love to see Ricky and Spieth, because I don't know if you saw this or not. Just so I know we're sidebarring here. Next week at the Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill, Ricky and Jordan Spieth, they didn't qualify because it's a signature event. So they've been getting the sponsor exemptions into the first couple signature events this year. The Arnold Palmer crew told them no, that they weren't getting the sponsors invites. So they're giving them to like Rafael Campos and Eric Cole and like now. Exactly. He wrote some letter. He wanted whatever. And I don't know what the deal is, why they don't want Ricky and Jordan Spieth playing at Bay Hill next week.
What are you, stupid?
The only way Ricky and Jordan are going to be there now to shove it in their faces, they got to finish top 5 here or better this weekend. And then they'll be
that would be great.
At Bay Hill to give those guys the business. Like Arnie's grandson or something was like, we're going in a different route this year. We're not just, we're –
Well, that's just bad business. That's a bad business decision is all that is. Like, no one's ever heard of these other 2 guys. Everyone wants to see Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler. Like, you have to consider your audience and your fans. No one cares about your boy Compost. What is he?
Like he won like
farm?
He won like the Bermuda or the Puerto Rican Open last year or something. Like
that doesn't count.
Like these are 2 huge names. You want them playing at your signature event, which is only 70 players. But you know what? I think they're both going to play themselves into the event next week. The way that they're cooking right now. Next. Cleveland and Boston. I believe that's where I was. Cleveland and Boston for you tonight in Beantown. -1.5 for the Celtics, 233.5 the total. Jaylen Brown questionable. He didn't play the other night, but it looks like he's going to be back in there tonight. Porzingis questionable as well for the Celtics.
I don't care anymore about the Zinger. He's so soft. I mean, this guy's candy. He never plays. And, he plays once every 3 weeks. It doesn't matter. Cornette's better than him anyways. Violent in the paint. He's in the low block, just constantly getting put-back dunks and alley-oop dunks. I still like Boston tonight at the Garden. Tatum's going to go off. I think Pritchard and everyone else, White, Cornette, they're all going off. That roster's so deep that I don't even care if Brown plays. I really don't. And I know how good Cleveland is. They're good, and they're on top of the East. They're not winning the East. Boston will still win the East and be in the NBA Finals. That'll be that, and they're going to prove it again tonight. When they want to, they will kick anyone's ass in this entire league when they want to play. Tonight would be one of those games. Like, all right, here comes this team on top of the East. They're going to come into our building and beat us. My ass.
The Trailblazers, as we mentioned, are in Brooklyn against the Nets. Portland -2.5, 220.5 the total.
I think Portland wins this game. I know that the Nets have been playing really well, but they're playing great defense. But they covered for us the other night with the 17 against the Thunder. This team, Portland, I think will give them matchup problems. We've seen them. Portland wins, and the Nets don't win. They were winning for a while with their defense. I think they lose tonight.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High, let's keep going on these NBA games tonight. And I know we got the golf is crazy. It's craziness.
The golf's nuts. I told you that Knapp hit it in the water before on that last hole. He ended up double bogeying and dropping back to 12 under. So he's not even in the lead anymore. Matthew Pavan's in the lead at 13 under. Ricky's only 2 back now at 11. Speed's trying to get there. I do have 2 quick pieces of spew news for you for this. So quickly, number one,
stop the press.
We knew that this was coming. The 76ers have made it official this afternoon. Joel Embiid is done for the rest of the season due to quote ongoing issues with his left knee. So no more.
What did we say on this show?
Yeah.
What did we say on this show? Tell them what we said.
He said wouldn't even play 2 more games. 3 more. It would take 2 games for him to shut him down. Finished. Completely finished. So Embiid is done for the year. Won't be.
His career is in serious jeopardy. I am telling you, this guy, how many times are they going to operate on this guy's knees? His knees are shot. I mean, he's turning into Grego. I mean, how many times? Scene. How many times are they going to clean out his knee? Here's the deal. His body is so massive. He's so powerful and so huge and so heavy and so, gigantic that it will never, ever get better. It's never going to get better. It's just going to get worse. By the time he's done, he'll have 15 knee surgeries. I mean, I'm telling you, they owe him so much money in the next 4 years that it's criminal. The 4th year is $69.5 million per. He will never even play in any of and all of it is guaranteed. He won't even be playing in 4 years. His knees are shot. He's done. He's finished. I'm telling you, they will never win anything with him in Philadelphia. Mark my words. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And the other one is of injury news from baseball, Yankee camp in Tampa, where Louis Heel was shut down today, shoulder discomfort during a bullpen session. He's going to go for an MRI. You know how that goes. Shoulder discomfort, MRIs. We never like to hear or see that. That's a minimum.
The showman was right. He said, I'm a starter.
Yeah.
Now he is.
He's going to be a starter now, that's for sure. And look, I mean, we obviously don't want to fear for the worst, but at minimum, he ain't starting the season. He ain't going to be around when the season starts a month from now, Louis Heel. Strowman's going to get an opportunity there. All right, let's finish these games.
I never trusted him with his name, Heel. The Heel's always the bad guy in wrestling. If your name is Heel, you're going to have issues.
Yeah. Next, Indiana's in Miami against the Heat this evening. Pacers minus 3.5 on the road, 224.5 the total.
Yeah, I like the Pacers here. I think the Heat have been a disaster. Remember, I hit them against the Hawks, hit the Hawks against them in Atlanta, took Miami against the Hawks in Miami at the Kaseya, and tonight they're going to get beat by the Pacers because Indy's playing great basketball. Halliburton's playing great basketball. Siakam, Turner, McConnell, they're going to win. Pacers.
Raptors are in Chicago against the Bulls. Bulls favored tonight, minus 2.5, 232.5 the total.
Oh, God forbid. And I'm going to take the Bulls. God forbid. God forbid. Like, they have a better record. They are better than the Raptors. The Raptors cover a lot. I get that. But, the other night I told you, I'm not betting on Toronto here against Indy. And what happened? Indy kicked their ass. I think the Bulls can beat them. We saw if you look at the Bulls, right, like I have to just at least look at this. You can't stop, right? So they beat the Sixers, remember, by 30-some points.
Yeah.
In Philly.
They lost.
I know they're awful
before that.
But I'm going to take them. I'm actually, and they have literally lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10 games in February. They've lost. They're awful. That's why I'm taking them. I'm taking the Bulls tonight because they suck so bad that I'm going to take them.
Another good one this evening. The Knicks are in Memphis against the Grizzlies. We told you it looks like they're going to get Mitchell Robinson back. Memphis minus 3.5, 244.5 the total.
Yeah, I like the Grizzlies tonight at the FedEx off Beale Street in Memphis. I like Ja. I like Jaren Jackson, Bane. I just think, in my view, the Knicks don't beat good teams. They beat every team that sucks in the NBA senseless. They can't beat good teams. Memphis is better than the Knicks.
The Pelicans and the Suns run it back. So they played in Phoenix last night. Oh, I didn't even mention you that. Zion had his first ever triple-double in that game for the Pelicans last night. But the problem for that is that means he ain't playing tonight because he don't play 2 nights in a row. Suns minus 9.5, 230.5 the total.
They suck so bad, the Suns, that I don't care who plays. Wow. I'm taking the 9.5. I don't care who plays. Now, I could see Phoenix winning this game at the Footprint tonight, but I don't think they can beat any team in the world, let alone the NBA, by 10 points. And I hit the Pelicans last night. I said on this show yesterday, not only am I taking them, they're going to win. Watch the film. It's real simple. Everything on this show is documented. There's no hiding. It's simple. We took the Pelicans last night. We're like, they're going to win.
T-Wolves, after the loss in L.A., are in Utah against the Jazz. They're laying 4.5, 226.5, but they're not going to have Ant. We told you he's going to get this automatic suspension for all the texts, so he ain't going to be there tonight.
It doesn't matter. He's not there. They were going to win by 14. Now they're going to win by 18 because Mike Conley and Naz Reid are going to get it done. They'll beat the Jazz easily tonight in Salt Lake Shakers. That's easy money.
I got one other game we'll do when we come back. That's that L.A. game between the Clippers and the Lakers, and then we'll get into some other stuff.
Why not? But I'm telling you, that's going to be great. They're playing twice this week.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. We're just not beating the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so the Lakers get both of these games, I believe, this weekend, tonight and whatever it is, Sunday, right, at the Crypt. They're playing the Clippers twice at home.
They are playing the Clippers twice at home. Weird scheduling. Both games are Laker home games at Crypto. They're not playing at the Intuit this weekend. So let's start with tonight. Now, they got the Clippers here as 4.5-point favorites. So, from my eyes, that means we need to do a little bit of digging here, because that tells me, Scotty, that there's people not playing for the Lakers. So I am going to quickly go and get myself the Laker injury report.
Meanwhile, the Lakers have been on fire.
The Lakers have been on fire, which is why it makes absolutely no sense for them to be that tonight. So let's go off of the... I've got Luka as questionable, and I've got nothing for LeBron right now, which makes no sense whatsoever. The Clippers are 4.5-point favorites. So I'm still digging into a little bit of a further reason, but you can give me what you think of that number along with a 220 total.
Well, because they played last night, right, and they look so good, and they've been so hot, and they've been winning so much, and they've been so incredible that tonight will be the ideal time to bet against them, and that's why that number is Clippers minus 4.5. Obviously, they're not going to play Luka or LeBron or whatever it is. Now, I think Hachimura got hurt last night.
Yes, he's out.
So he's out. So I'm going to take the Clippers and lay the 4.5. But I'm going to just put this out there now. When they play Sunday, I'm taking the Lakers. The Lakers will beat them when it matters on Sunday over the weekend. Tonight is a back-to-back. And, they had to work last night, and they got it done. They won. And then, all these guys, my guess is, are taking the night off, which makes no sense to me because you're playing let's just face facts. They're rivals, whether you like it or not. It's like saying the Nets and Knicks aren't. When the Clippers played, and believe me, the Clippers built that multi-billion-dollar Shangri-La because they got sick of being the redheaded stepchild of the Lakers, right? So they built their own arena and said, screw you, we want nothing to do with you. We want to beat your ass. And the Clippers are tough. They are tough. I won't deny the Lakers have been hot, have been winning, been playing great with Luka and everything else. That number's screaming for me to take the Clippers. Screaming.
I agree. This is 15 minutes ago, the Lakers official injury report. Luka, Jackson Hayes, LeBron, all questionable for tonight. Hachimura out. He's definitely not playing. So the other three were listed as questionable.
And what about the Clippers?
Clipper injury report. I'll give you that in a moment here. Let's get them rolling. Now they're coming back. This is their first game back west. Norman Powell questionable. That's it. So Powell questionable.
Yeah, I like
playing.
Zubats and Harden and this team and Kawhi and give me the Clippers. Why not?
Ricky,
I've been betting on the Lakers every single night. They're bound to lose. They can't win every game.
Ricky puts it in the water on the par 3 15th at the Bear Trap.
I'm watching it right now. Disaster.
Just not a good scene for him.
Oh,
did he put it in the water too?
No, I think he's in the trap. I think he hit it into the sand.
He hit it where the Irish Bear hit it yesterday when we were watching. Remember, he hit it over the green into that trap, and then he made a great hit out of the sand to save par. It looks like that Jordan's going to have to do the same thing. All right, there you go. NBA for tonight. I've got a lot of NFL for you here from the Combine. I do know, though, that you're going to be talking to Marty next, so I'm going to probably hold off on some of this. I don't know if you saw any of the Shedeur Sanders stuff this morning with the media in Indy. Very confident of himself, so I'm going to play you those. Cam Ward spoke this morning. All those guys are scheduled to the quarterbacks be on the field tomorrow, but as you know, Sanders and Ward are not going to do anything on the field, but Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart are, and the rest of the quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, good for them. I think it's great that Milroe and Dart are going to work and are there to handle their business, to handle their medicals, to handle their interviews, to be adults, and to work out like a man. And then these other candy ass, I'm so famous, I'm so wonderful, look at me, I'm the number one player, I'm going to make the most money, and they don't work out. Come to my pro day. And then they all follow them like dogs to their pro day. They'll turn it into, it'll be national news, their pro day workouts. And pro day workouts also are an utter joke.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not beating the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Marty Corwin is a legendary television producer and director and a boxing guy that has been in the business forever. I have covered boxing and been to almost, 100 title fights over 35 years of covering the sport and going to Vegas for everything. I've seen everything that ever happened in Atlantic City, in Brooklyn, in New York City, at the Garden. I've been to some of the greatest fights that ever happened. I've also had the luxury of being friends with both Bob Arum and Don King. I was very close with Don and worked for Don for several years and Alan Hopper. So I've been around both of them. I've had Bob Arum on my show 100 times, but Marty worked for both on the inside as their right-hand man. And it is amazing what you've accomplished in your career in TV and in producing and in directing. And then in boxing, it is phenomenal. Your book is out, 6 Decades of Boxing Gold in Arum and King. I've been around both of them so much, Marty, that and with Alan, I was really close with him. I always felt, I just want to say this now, I really was fond of Don. Even though Don at times could be evil, and I thought he was definitely a bullshacker. I mean, this guy could bullshack anyone to death. And he took advantage of so many fighters. There's no denying it. But I always felt that with me, my friendship with him, that I felt he put on some of the greatest fights that ever happened in the history of the sport. I was grateful to Don for what he meant to boxing, despite people thinking he was a criminal.
Well, you kind of touched on the premise of the book. I don't ignore the controversies that surrounded these two gentlemen, but the point of the book is what they accomplished. I admire them both for the fights and the events that they put on. Their accomplishments are absolutely beyond, the ability to deny them the credit they deserve. Don King, for at least 3 decades, was on the very top, and Bob Arum now for 6 decades. So that basically is the premise of the book. Like I say, I don't deny the controversy surrounding them, and I talk about them factually, but the point of the book is what they accomplished.
I thought Bob was a genius. I thought he was a shrewd negotiator, and I thought he was brilliant at putting on big fights as well. And I also knew him to be painfully difficult at times when he wasn't in a good mood. If he didn't like you, he could be painful. And I think that, now I know that ESPN is finally done with Top Rank. They're not dealing with him anymore. I think as he got older, it got worse. Respectfully, I say this. Now, I admire him greatly. I was around him when, we were all young. I'm an old man now too, but I've been around for the genesis of both of their careers. I was there for the core of both of their greatness. So I was lucky enough to know them in their peak and prime of their brilliance.
Well, Bob Arum is brilliant. I mean, he was, cum laude graduated Harvard lawyer who worked in Robert Kennedy's Justice Department. I mean, he really is a brilliant man. Don King surprised me when I first met him. I had no idea how smart he was. Don is absolutely perhaps the smartest man I've ever met. Unbelievable photographic memory. And Don was, much different than I expected. One of the differences between them, and I talk throughout the book of the similarities and the differences. One of the differences between these two guys is that Don is that, Gordon Gekko level CEO with a brilliant business mind who then becomes the other only in America person when there's a camera or a crowd around. Bob Arum is the same, with or without a camera, and no matter whether or not you think he was difficult, he's the same guy. He kind of reminds me of my favorite uncle. And on the camera or off, he's still the same Bob Arum. Don King is really two people.
There's no doubt. I mean, Don was a showman. He was bigger than the fight. He put on the show, and then we went to watch a fight. And then business was done for the day after the fight. It was all about selling the fight. No one manipulated the media better than Don King. I've never seen anyone even come close. And then
he was very good at it.
Bob, for me, was the businessman special. He really was all business, and he would do all the interviews because he had to, not because he wanted to.
I think that's fair. Bob, truly loved the sport. I mean, when we have an event, Bob shows up for the first fight, and he's there for the first fight through the he doesn't come for the main event. He is a true, fan of boxing. And, when you talk to him, which I had the pleasure of doing about some of these fights and fighters, he talks about, Hagler Hearns being the best fight he ever saw in 85.
Me too.
And he really does have a love for the sport. Don, does talk about the events, and he is great with the crowd. There's one funny story I have where reporters kind of surrounded Don in San Antonio before the Tyson Holyfield fight, which he had named The Sound and the Fury. And one of the reporters from Texas said to him, he said, Don, why'd you name the fight The Sound and the Fury? And everybody rolled their eyes because they knew something was going to be coming. And Don said, well, I'm glad you asked that question. I was laying in bed the other night, and all of a sudden a vision from the other side come to me. Ernest Hemingway is at the foot of my bed, and he said to name the fight The Sound. And the reporter thought he had him because the reporter was literate. He said, well, Don, no, actually, it wasn't Ernest Hemingway who wrote it. That's, I'm trying to remember the name of the author. He says, William Faulkner wrote The Sound and the Fury, Don. And Don said, yeah, that's what Hemingway said. Name it after Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. Just pivot.
He did. He knew how to do everything. He was something else. When you worked for him, what was it like seeing so many guys hate him in business? Like, because he would always win, and they didn't like that. And there were a lot of guys that couldn't stand him and wanted him dead.
It didn't bother him because he had incredibly tough skin. But, he came from an environment where, you had to be tough to survive. So I don't think it really bothered him. Even when Jack Neufeld wrote the book, The Life and Crimes of Don King, and HBO turned it into a movie, everybody thought, oh my God, Don must have hated that. No, Don loved the movie. He thought it was great. He invited Ving Rhames to ringside for a Tyson fight right after it came out. He thought it was great. Don was pretty intimidating, and I didn't, I wasn't on the business end of things with him. I was just the TV guy, so I didn't have to deal with that. But like you say, he was a tough, street-hustling street lawyer is the best term I can give him. So sometimes fighters, who were confronted by Don carrying a bag full of money, signed a deal that they shouldn't have. They should have had a lawyer there to talk about the deal, not sign it themselves. And then after the fact, they had some remorse and went to the media and said they were cheated. Well, were they, or were they out hustled?
I have about 45 seconds. I have to tell you, and I still go to fights. I was invited to this Tank fight tomorrow night, and I can't go in Brooklyn. I've been to 10 of his fights. Real quick, in 30 seconds, I think guys that do it today are awful at it compared to Arum and King. I really do. I think the promoters now are the worst.
There's never going to be another Don King or Bob Arum. And the title of the book originally was Arum and King, The End of an Era. And that's what I think. It is the end of an era. It's not the same. There's not going to be another King, another Arum.
Marty, I can't wait to read it. I really am excited about it. Yeah, I've had an amazing life and career. Thanks for coming on Coast to Coast and talking about Bob Arum and my old pal, Don King. I love both of them.
My pleasure, Scott. Thanks for having me.
I'm in.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. So, but I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, great having Marty Corwin on, and his book, 6 Decades of Boxing Gold, all about Bob Arum and Don King. I got to tell you, I have never, so Bob was very different than Don, and frankly, I think he respected what he accomplished. I never thought Bob liked Don, for that matter, but I just thought being around Don, for me, for the last 35 years was fascinating. I mean, I got to be around one of the real institutions and characters in sports, in boxing, Don King. There was no one like him. And, Bob was a businessman, and he was very shrewd. Don was both. He was a deal maker, and he was good at making deals for himself and for fighters, but he always won. And he was an entertainer like no one I've ever seen, a showman. I mean, this guy sold a fight like no other. Not one of these people today, Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, none of them, absolutely none of them can hold a candle to this man. It's embarrassing how bad it is now. These guys, have you seen the stuff that Oscar does on social media? It's embarrassing. I mean, he's like one day he's naked, the next day he's doing something bizarre. And then Mayweather, he's running strip clubs and having exhibition fights against 2-foot-tall people. I don't know what's happened to either one of them. They're both such a mess. I don't want anything to do with either one of them. I don't give a rat's ass what they think of me either. The only one I'll deal with is Heyman and Binkow and PBC. They invited me to the fight tomorrow. I'm not going, but I go to all the fights. I think boxing has never been worse with the clowns that run it now, besides Heyman and Binkow. I think they're fantastic. They're the only thing that matters in boxing. But there was no one like Don King. And I mean, this guy was so much fun to be around and to see him work a room. I mean, he worked a room like no other. Like, I've never seen anyone take control of an event in my life. Roger Goodell can't hold a candle to him. Manfred, Gary Bettman, no one can hold a candle to what Don King was in almost the entirety of his career. At the end, he was very old and he, lost it. Okay, that was over. There became a point where he hit a wall. But there was a 35-year window where he was the most significant showman and seller of sports and PR guy and front man and promoter of anything I've ever seen in my life. No one in sports could touch him. Whether you liked him or not, Don King ran the world. And he put on the greatest fights in the history of boxing. All of them. Everything that ever mattered. I mean, even at least the greatest fights in the history of the sport were because of him. And Arum as well. But Bob was different. He was just all business. He wasn't a showman at all. In fact, like doing an interview with him is like pulling teeth. But he would talk boxing until he was blue in the face. But the other guy sold it with flair and passion and humor and wit and wisdom. And he was just such a character. It was the most unbelievable thing I ever saw. All right. Sorry, Mike. I get worked up because I really liked Don King. For all the people that hated him, I actually loved him. And I loved Alan Hopper too. So screw anyone that didn't like Don King. I loved him. And we talk about Shedeur Sanders here. Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to give you a couple things. By the way, the kid Clanton's going to make the cut. He will get his PGA Tour card. All he needed to do was make the cut to get enough points for him. So congratulations.
Nice. I see him hugging his family.
He's having what a run he's been on. I mean, the last few months, he's played all these tournaments as an amateur. He's built up enough points now through this PGA Tour U. So congratulations to Clanton. He can start I'm sure he's going to turn pro. Maybe he's going to start making some real money. Good for him. All right, here we go. Combine this morning. The quarterbacks taking the stage to speak. Now, remember, Sanders and Ward, they're not doing anything except talking to the media, talking to the teams in one-on-one interviews. Sanders, as we know, very confident himself. He knows that he can turn any NFL franchise around.
I've been through 6 different OCs, so I'm able to adjust to any offense and every scheme and make it work. We went from Jackson State to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change a program again? It's history. We done it again. It's always going to repeat itself.
Listen, I don't deny and doubt him. I don't, that he has talent and he's, he can really play. And I think he's got all kinds of skill. He was, about 72, 73% completions. I thought what he did at Colorado was, relatively amazing. And believe me, their problems the year before weren't because of him. He was a hell of a quarterback in Boulder. And I think he's going to be exciting to watch play in the NFL. That's all there is to it. Listen, if I can watch, Kyler Murray and I can watch Bryce Young and I can watch all these, quarterbacks running around and, let's face facts. Bryce Young was awful, right? They're ready to chop him. They're ready to run him out of Dodge. Like he's finished, right? Now all of a sudden, who's laughing now? I thought this year he played great for a guy that they had basically rubbed out of the league. I think that Shedeur Sanders will be successful. He's so athletic and talented and smart, and he can throw the ball. And, he throws money shots. I think he slings it right where it needs to be. So I think he'll be successful without a doubt. I think he's going to have a career. I'm not really worried about him. And he's as cocky as they come. But look who his dad is. I mean, his father's the cockiest human being that ever walked on the face of the earth. There's never been anyone even comes close. Not one person ever, not even Don King was as cocky as Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, Prime, and all the other nonsense. He's the cockiest human being on the face of the earth ever. More than anyone I've ever even looked at. There's no one even close.
One more real fast. Do we have enough time? I don't think we do. We'll have to play the other one when we come back. We'll squeeze in the other Sanders and Ward after the break, and then I'll give you all the other NFL. I got a ton of NFL stuff that we have to do. Also, there's hockey tonight, 3 games.
Everybody loves hockey.
Rack. We have to do college rack as well.
We did it again
last night. Very
night.
busy.
Did it again last night.
Did it again last night.
It's
very
every
proud
night.
of the Anteaters. And Rutgers, too. I know Rutgers lost.
With the Rutgers 9.5, that was easy money.
Covered.
Remember, Michigan, every game they play, in their last 12 games, like every game they play has been under 4 points.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not beating the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Is that kind of helpful when it comes to preparing for a major? Is that you're just like 1 foot in front of you at this point?
Ideally come to a place here at Bay Hill where I've had good success in the past. I've only played it the last 21, 2, 3, and 4. But I've played it well, and I really like that we're heading there with where I'm at right now. I think it's going to tell me a lot.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
We love hearing from Rich Sermonello.
Hey, Scott, let's talk a little NFL draft as it pertains to college football. NFL Combine starting this week in Indianapolis. Didn't get a chance to talk with you about early entries into the NFL draft from college football programs. A little more than 70 kids this year gave up their eligibility of senior years. That number continues to decline, Scott. A lot of that has to do with the NIL money. You could now stay in college football, continue to get paid. You don't have to necessarily jump early to the NFL. I think it's good for the kids. I think it's good for for college football in general. Now, what programs were hardest hit by early entries to the NFL draft? I'll give you three. First off, Texas. No surprise, a lot of talent, a lot of kids looking to head to Sundays. Lose 6 players, the biggest high-profile one, Quinn Ewers. That's not my biggest concern with Arch Manning now in the fold. It's more weapons and offensive linemen. Lost both of their tackles, Kelvin Banks, Cam Williams. Those two kids could be first-round draft choices in April. And then 3 of their top 4 wide receivers are gone, so some transition taking place in Austin. Number 2, again, not a big surprise. The most talented programs lose most of the players to the NFL. Georgia, number 2, 7 players gone. Similar to Texas, 2 starting offensive linemen. They have to basically start over on the front wall. 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen from last year. But my bigger concern, Scott, is defense. Last year's Georgia defense, worst unit in Athens since 2016. Now their 3 best players are gone. Malachi Starks out of the secondary, Michael Williams up front, and Jalen Walker. So transition continuing at Georgia as well. And finally, number 3, Michigan. The final vestiges of that national championship team gone. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant up front on defense. Will Johnson, one of the best corners in the country, gone as well. I got a winner for you. The team that really did the best is Penn State. I think this is going to be a theme for us, Scott, throughout the offseason. A lot of expectations, ton of pressure on James Franklin. Drew Aller could have gone to the NFL draft. He stays put. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton out of the backfield also staying put. Denied Dennis Sutton, defensive lineman. He'll be back in Happy Valley. This team reminds me a little bit of a poor man's Ohio State. They even get Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator. So tons of expectations for Penn State, a team that's loaded and really is going to have a shot to play for a national championship next year. Next week, Scott, let's talk about the NFL Combine. Who were the winners? Who were the losers? Biggest storylines? And how does that impact the odds for top overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft?
Sounds good, Rich. Have a great weekend, buddy. Great stuff as usual. All right, Mike, I know you want to give me some Sanders and Ward.
Yeah. One more Sanders. We played your one. Here's the other. Like I said, very confident.
No, it's extremely important to keep your mental in the best place because that's what my game is played. My game's not played from my legs and not even just my arm. So I know longevity, the all-time greats, what's Tom Brady's best trait? His mental. He's able to think. So if you have those traits of greatness and I know where I'm heading, then why wouldn't the franchise pick me? You got the ultimate cheat code.
Yeah, listen, this kid's ready to go, and he's not afraid of the bright lights. And we'll see if, the Giants have the stones to do it. Like, just make it happen already. They didn't get Matt Stafford. Allegedly, they offered him all kinds of money, and they didn't get him. So now it's time to just make the move. I mean, I think if these two, Shane and Dable, want to keep their jobs and careers, because if they get fired, they're finished in the NFL. I really believe that because they've been so awful. They need to draft this kid now and just save their necks.
They do. Cam Ward is the absolute opposite. Not as much flash as Shedeur Sanders. He leads by example.
Just holding people accountable. I'm not no rah-rah guy. At this point in your career in the NFL, you should need somebody to motivate you every day. You got to be self-motivated. That's the type of person I am. That's the type of leader I am. So I just think, what I can bring to a franchise, no other player can bring that.
That was the epitome of the Super Bowl media scrum when you have the guy talking at the microphone, but you can't hear a word he's saying because so many people are standing there talking and having their dinner plans made. I always said to the chick, I'm like, hey, listen, you got the speakers on, right? Because you got these big speakers hanging from it. You might want to turn them up a little bit because nobody can hear anything, no matter how old they are or young. And that's what that was right there. I don't even know what he said, but I know this. In the biggest games, he didn't get it done. That's all I know. Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I talked about AZ Fudd a lot, folks, and said when she got back from that knee injury, remember, it's the second ACL tear she's had in her career, that she was going to be a difference maker. UConn is plus 330. They're not going to get challenged again in the Big East until they come out of conference play in a conference tournament. I still like them at plus 330 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I feel when I look at this Arizona team, I don't take them serious as a national title threat because you're asking Caleb Love to bottle magic that I just don't even think exists.
4.4, 6.6, 7.4, 7.7, 7.8. This guy is literally he'll shoot you out of games, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.